Yes.
Hi, I'm Shanta, and welcome to Career Chats, brought to you by Successful Mindset Strategies, and that is my consulting company. I'm a transformational coach, an empowerment coach as well. I'm a registered counselor with CCSA, a NeuroLink, neuroagility practitioner. I also engage in AcuDetox as a practitioner. I'm recently an author of fiction stories and also an occupational certificate workbook. I love presenting at conferences, and I'm passionate about developing others. So I think in a nutshell, that's who I am. Now, we have endured a very, very grueling year. Our children have gone through lots. And COVID-19 has claimed lives. It has claimed jobs. In many cases, it has claimed one's sanity. That is of concern to me. Our grade 12s will be ending exams pretty soon. And I would like to look at a very out-of-the-box career choice. You know, it's sad that very often when parents look at careers, they just seem to look at the ones where you leave university and get a job. Now, we're going through the fourth industrial revolution, and that's not the mindset our children need to have. They need to have an entrepreneurial mindset, because you can come out of university and have the degree. That's what you go to university for. However, no one is guaranteed a job. Taking all that I've said into consideration, I have the most delightful young man that I'm interviewing. I have admired him from afar. You know, when you look at somebody who's very much model material, you tend to step back and say, okay, I wonder if I can approach this young man. And then I realized who he was. And I absolutely, unrelentlessly followed him. And I said, I've got to get this young man to share his brilliant experiences that he has had. Siyanda Baijoo, welcome, son. How wonderful to have you. How absolutely wonderful. Tell me about you. Tell me who this Siyanda Baijoo is. Talk to me.
First and foremost, thank you so much for having me on your beautiful show. I don't know if you can hear me properly.
Very well. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that introduction. I feel like such a celebrity now. That was beautiful. I feel like I just had my spotlight moment. Thank you. But yes, my name is Siyanda Baijoo. I am born and bred here in Pietermaritzburg. My family, the Baijoos, are quite well known around. Mom and my dad are like humanitarian, historical, iconic people. So I follow through in the lines of that. And who I am is generally based off my connections with my family and my friends over the years of my 27 lives that I've lived. It has developed me into this person that I am. I'm quite passionate about art. I'm quite passionate about nature and peace and loving. I always draw inspirations and stuff from events that have happened in my life. Also, I'm quite passionate about my queer life as well. I'm very involved in the LGBTQ community, as where I'm a non-binary, non-conforming queer person that's still flowing through the times and space of the universe and what we experience every day and learning new things. Sorry, and I ramble a lot. Like I can speak for days. So pardon me if I get off track a little bit, but no. Yes, I am a practicing artist as well. I've adventured abroad, got the opportunity to study abroad and harness my skills in contemporary and modern art. in the University of Karnataka Chitrikala Prashant College of Fine Arts, Bangalore, University associated. And from there, I realized that with this energetic, bubbly self of mine, art form is the way to speak out how I feel, what I want to portray to the world, what stories I want people to feel when they see my work, and basically stuff like that. My mind is always everywhere, so I always try to take major factors and just try to come up with new ideas in art and stuff. But yeah, basically, I'm just this loving, artful, bubbly person, and that just is an open-minded fellow who wants to envelop the world in creativity and beautiful artwork. Sorry for the long intro. Like I said, I talk a lot.
That's fine, Siyanda. I've been looking forward to this. In fact, I really hope that in the 40 minutes that I have you, that we're going to cover everything that we need to cover.
Yes.
Siyanda, you went to university in Bangalore. Okay. What drove you to art?
Yes.
How did you develop this passion for art? I'm looking behind you, and I notice you have Shiva with the crescent on there, right? Let's not go into religion, but religion is very much a science and the phases of the moon, etc. So that aside, as I said, let's not go into religion. What drew you into the world of art? And by the way, you mentioned being part of the LGBT community. Isn't it absolutely awesome to be someone who accepts others without judgment? Isn't that one of the things of true character?
Absolutely.
I really agree with that. Siyanda, let's go back to this. What drew you to art, son?
So it actually started at a very young age. I've always been known to be drawing figures or like creating characters on paper while doing stuff and just like drawing animals. I always loved drawing birds because I always wanted to fly. And I always thought, well, if I can't actually fly now, let me draw it and just imagine them flying. It would be great. And
that's actually very therapeutic.
From there, art was always, yes, it is, because it allowed me to relax. It's a way for me to clear out any problems that I have and just zone in on that piece of paper with my mind just free of judgment. It's a free space to think and draw whatever you want that, comes out from your heart and soul. And it's always been a part of me growing up, and I think my family also noticed like this is something that I should definitely consider and pursue in every opportunity and in every form possible in this aspect of art, which I did. I first did my diploma by CFAD. It's a Center for Fine Arts, Animation and Graphic Design.
Where was that?
The head founder is Nanda in Pietermaritzburg. We had a campus in Pietermaritzburg, but I think they cut down, I don't know for what reason. And the main branch is in Durban. It's run by the famous Nanda Subin. He's the creator of the comic. Yes.
So an amazing artist.
Absolutely. I loved his work. Always in the newspapers, it's such a lovely joy. In the morning you read the paper and you have this cute comic there. So it brings a smile on your face. So it's quite nice to know that that is an artist that we've been, training under, when it comes to like pursuing our talent at that time. And from there, I continued on. I qualified. I got my diploma, and then I got an opportunity to start. I managed to get a scholarship with a program between India. There's a program run between India and South Africa where they give 150 applicants in each state, and you're allowed to study whatever you wish. And if you get accepted, all fees and everything is paid by the India government, and you study abroad with them, and then they pay for you to come back. So it was a very nice opportunity to go, and I managed to land a beautiful scholarship with Chitrikala Prashant College, and they are a very contemporary, modern, infused Indian style art facility where their teachings are very traditional mixed with up and coming modern. So that's where we learned how to get more encouraged and to explore more and not be afraid to think out of the box and push boundaries. And that I think that's where my art has evolved now, where some of it is so like sometimes people don't expect like an African person to be painting, you know, Indian deities or depicting, you know, such things, or have the audacity to maybe incorporate other imagery with it, you know, just make something more interesting and viewing.
Siyanda, I would have to stop you there. That's not audacity. That is courage to take on challenges. You are not going to be accepted by everybody, but then you're not ice cream. You are not going to be everybody's favorite. And that's the challenges that the youth of today have to face. You mentioned different types of art. While you were in India, did you perhaps get an opportunity to learn any of the traditional art? Because I find, you know, I have a very limited knowledge. But in the past, I'd say since 2012, I've suddenly started looking at, well, my saris to start off with, and looking at who painted them. Was this done by rural women, or am I paying for a sweatshop somewhere? And, you know, it makes me very, very conscious. Excited. So, yeah, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I can actually, because it's quite a surprise that you brought out the topic about the sari, because when I had to go get accommodation in Bangalore, I was looking for a place to stay. I managed to a friend that we made a friend in India, and he helped us find a place where this Karnataka man stayed with his family and his in-laws, and it was a beautiful building. I wish I had pictures to show, and it was tall, lovely. And after I got to get to know them a bit more, I started to converse with the landlord more, the old guy, and he explained to me at one point, when he got really comfortable with me, he told me that he was also an artist in his time. And I was like, that's very interesting. Like, what kind of art did you do and stuff? And he went to his attic, which was very, very dusty, ancient, and mud built. So like so it's cool, so the paper doesn't get, I think, damp or something like that. And he pulled out all of these print works for the saris. Wow. It's these block prints that he handcrafts, he hand designs and makes them in grid form. So so it's very like they have a particular set that that they create in the village that he used to stay, and he was the main person that would design the print blocks for each silk saris that they were woven. And that was really interesting to me to know that he still kept those, because he stopped working when he retired, which was like at 52 he retired. So at that time when I was with him, he was 67. So yeah, and he had these block prints and the beauty of like the birds, and you can see like how the flowers are block printed, and it's all hand done, and it was so crazy for me to find, because that's like quite a treasure for me to inspire from, or you know, to get motivation from, to see like ethnic, you know, rural ethnic artwork being kept and, you know, still being done, even though he doesn't work in the factory, in the process anymore, but he still like keeps these for like they have more people coming in for traditional inspirations when they want new saris being made and stuff. Yes. So that was really fun to have.
The
And
reason, Siyanda, I'm
more,
sorry, the reason I brought this up, and I'm
yeah.
sure, you will realize where I'm heading to with this. The other print that I learned about was called kalamkari. Now, in all the years, I'm supposed to have some knowledge of my language, um, my vernacular.
Yes.
And I got to understand the word kalam more while I was in the Middle East because it is an Arabic word.
Yes.
And yeah, but spelled with a Q. And that's because my male students used to be screaming across the corridor with a kalam. They never ever had a kalam because we were virtually paperless. But be that as it may, kalamkari is print done with the pen.
Mm.
And on an entire
Yeah.
sari, this print is repeated. The main
Yes.
design is done with pen, right? Now let us bring your block print. We're talking about art as a career. We're looking at South Africa. You've
Yes.
been abroad.
Yes.
The block print, the way it is preserved. I mentioned the kalamkari. Then you get what's called the temple design on the linen saris. I know
Yeah.
that those saris are not popular here. They are not really fancied here, right?
Yeah, they're not attractive in the eyes here,
Of many.
but back, yeah, but back in they are very, very, they are more considered special saris to wear on like very special occasions, like rituals or
Absolutely.
like
Absolutely.
for like important days, and they preserve like royal garments in the households. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're very correct.
Yeah. Okay. So how can we take your knowledge from India and apply it to South Africa with regard to
Ooh,
art? We have
for
treasures
for
here.
the youngsters of today.
Absolutely. I look at fabric that's being worn, and it's not South African, it's from the African continent.
Mm.
But it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot, ours is the shweshwe. But have
Yes.
you noticed now that we've become just a global family? How we have different types of print coming in. Now,
Yes.
I love
Especially in
them.
the fashion.
Absolutely. I love those prints. But how can you, as a young artist, encourage somebody who wants to do art with thought of an entrepreneur? That, look, why should we just stick to shweshwe? In the 70s, when I was at university, it was a great thing to have an 8-panel shweshwe skirt. It was really the thing
Mm.
to have. And it was either blue or brown. For some reason, we were
Mm.
not allowed to buy the red, but it was blue or brown. It had tigers or lions or something on it. And we wore those long
Mm.
skirts with pride to university or wherever. But now I see shweshwe material is evolving. Now, as an artist, don't you think there is an opportunity, there's a business opportunity here for some grade 12 person who's so passionate about art to look at and realize that art is just not drawing? You can design material, you can do so many things with it. What is your take on that?
Absolutely.
On our lack of traditional material in South Africa?
I feel like you're on a very good point and platform like that, in the sense that there should be youngsters to take that or have that kind of not mindset. I wouldn't say mindset, but it's more or less like an idea because each person is different with their creativity. And when it comes to using the take example, shweshwe prints in particular to like the fashion industry, it can hold a whole lot of other opportunities just from being used as a garment to explore as an entrepreneur. Because nowadays, because of social media and how easy it is for people to connect around the world as well,
And to market.
and together and to market, some that person, whoever or whoever wants to be that kind of creative needs to have the passion and the drive to take the idea and make it yours, and don't be afraid to put it out there. Because I feel like what's really lacking the most is just, I think there's a lot of fear that people think that art is not something that's financially feasible to take on. It's something that you put aside, but you have to have like a main job. Whereas for me, I'm actually, at the moment, I'm taking the full on risk factor of making this my only in one job. So for me, this is kind of like also a step to push myself entrepreneurially and
Exactly.
to take,
So, Siyanda, sorry, son. If I were to look at that, because, I'm really delighted because both of us just seem to be going in the same direction with this conversation. And
yeah,
it's, as I said, I think beyond this, we're going to have to pay each other a visit.
oh,
Siyanda,
definitely.
I think it's going to be delightful. Son, you say it's your only income. What
Yes.
side hustle can complement an artist's income? Would it be framing? Would it be opening a shop with art supplies? What other side hustle do you think would help an artist?
I would actually say the best side hustle would be, as me, I'm a painter by trade, but if you have the knowledge of graphic design and videography and photography as well, because that's also art form in its own.
Yes.
And a lot of people there are a lot of people that are up and coming into photography and videography, and the normal society is more interested in photography nowadays to capture moments more and to have special occasions stuff. So that's also a good marketing way to get into while you still, if you're that youngster that wants to explore art like painting and stuff on the side as well. People always say you have to have a plan B when doing art, or like have a backup plan if art fails out. And it's good that you do that. It's definitely like a safe gate for you if you feel like, okay, this is a bit too much of a struggle. Let me try this on for size while I
Mm.
grow back into my art, which is good. But I also feel like if you really feel driven and passionate enough to make this your solo income, do it, and do it with the utmost heart and soul in you, and don't give up. No matter how or what you feel about the situation. Of course, it's tough at the beginning for any entrepreneur,
Mm.
but once you get into that drive and you make that momentum, and
It's 8 o'clock.
you will be able to feasibly be financially capable of
Mhm.
holding yourself financially as an artist eventually.
Strange,
It's a long process.
yeah, you speak about videography and things like that as other forms of art. And it's strange that you talk about people who do that. A few weeks ago,
Mm,
a videographer was sent to me to record one of my therapy courses for a company abroad. And
okay.
chatting to this young man, he was a freelance tourist photographer, meaning he went all over the world taking photographs, not of tourists as such, but of wildlife attractions
Wow.
for tourists. He came back and his photographs were in some magazine. And then the company in UK that I'm partially contracted to asked him to do the recording of the courses that a few of us in South Africa provide for them. And listening to his
Wow.
story, he showed me pictures of art that he had done. And yeah, just, he lives in Cape Town. He travels extensively. Yeah, and I think, why I'm smiling. You live in Cape Town, you've got to be working very hard. And yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
he's got his own apartment.
And you see, that is also that should be another motivation for somebody that wants to be part of this. Yes, there's a lot of hard work, but the opportunities that you get while you are in this kind of creative, situation and industry, it's mind blowing what can or who will see the work that you do, whether it's photography, whether it's painting, whether it's sculpting, whether it's that, and somebody will be like, I want you. And they could be across the entire world. And that's the kind of person that will pay for your work. That's what
Yes.
makes this kind of industry worthwhile in my eyes.
Yeah.
It's not about the commercialized society where we make,
Yeah.
I won't lie, I make these couple portraits every time for people who wants to have like a cute portrait in their house, and I sell that just to like try and put some pocket money in my stuff, in my pocket money in my stuff.
Do you
Pocket.
factor in, Siyanda, do you factor in the cost of paint and all that? Because if you look behind me, that's ordinary string art. But it didn't come
That's
cheap.
me. I was actually staring at that.
That didn't come
And
cheap.
I was just like, that's actually factor me.
It was something my son and I did on, one of the Mother's Days that we spent together. And he and I went to
Oh,
a lady
lovely.
called Viv Morton, and she did some string art with us, some flow art. And these things don't come cheap. So your stuff,
They don't. Because
do you have people paying for your stuff, or
yeah.
are they moaning and groaning?
No, I'm very transparent and I'm very upfront and honest with what I do. And I give you a full-blown detail of this is how much this costs, this is how much this costs, this is why I have to factor the hours of this, and I give you a total of that amount for your work. And I haven't, because I also just started getting into my painting life industry financially and making it my job, I haven't actually gotten that many complaints or any groaning as such, because I think I think this point in time, the youth and society now actually understand that art is not a cheap cheap skill set to just acquire. Like, there is a lot of work that goes into it, and there's a lot of man hour and time and concentration. So there is I see there's a lot of people that appreciate when we give a proper, transparent, everything costs for what you are getting. And so far, I haven't had any complaints.
Siyanda, if I were to ask you a word of advice or a word of encouragement to any child who wants to go and study art after grade 12, what would you say? Would you remember to say to them that the life of an artist is one of feast or famine?
Oh, it's actually the life of artists. It's a 50-50, and it's also a catch-22, because it depends who sees you, and if actually no. What I should be saying is that you should go full for go for it with all your heart and soul, and just work towards what you want to accomplish. Because at the end of the day, art is your own expression, and you should express what you want to express out into the world. And you'll get probably 1 out of 50 people that will appreciate that work. And you never know, that could be that one that would make your dreams a reality, and you could be hosting commissioned beautiful artworks forever. You never know.
You never ever know.
I would just say take it full for it.
Okay.
And it's more or less feast and more or less famine as well.
It's like all business. It is like all business. Won't you agree, Siyanda? It is like all business. No matter whatever profession you're in,
Absolutely.
when you stop earning a salary, your life does become one of feast or famine.
Yes.
And if you can deal with the famine, you will enjoy the feast. Would you agree? I think I've lost you there. Are you back, Siyanda?
I am here. Are you, can you
Yeah,
hear me? Yes,
I can.
okay, there we go.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I was just saying, if you can endure the famine, then you can enjoy the feast. And that goes for any business. And I think for art as well. Siyanda,
100%.
absolutely. It's been delightful speaking to you. Thank you for giving me an evening. And if I were to, or if anyone was interested in getting hold of you, do you have a website, or can you be found on LinkedIn? What social media do you use? Where can one find you?
Okay, so I have a Facebook page called Siyanda Create Art on Facebook. And I also have an Instagram called Siyanda Create Dios, which has most of my artwork all over the place on there. And I do have a LinkedIn, which is Siyanda Baijoo Matao. You can get a hold of me there for commission work. If you need me to do mural paintings and stuff, you get a hold of me on those platforms. And I generally reply back quite quick. So, yeah.
Unless it's on an app called Telegram.
Unless it's on an app called Telegram, which I don't know anything about.
But you own one. Siyanda, thank you, son. Thank you so much for telling us about the world of art.
Is that our time already? Wow.
Our time, yes. That is why I said we owe each other a visit. It's been so good speaking to you. You've educated me on so many levels. And I wish you well. And I wish that more would go into the world of art, take the risk.
Definitely.
And, you know, my philosophy is not quite the same as yours. I believe when you take the risk, have a side hustle. Whether you're baking cookies from home or whether you're making anything, but have that side hustle that brings in the money when everything else goes dry.
Absolutely.
COVID-19 has taught us that.
Money, we have to survive.
Oh, yeah. I've yet to find any store that I could go to and smile and get my goods given to me, or any online shopping where I could send them
online shopping.
Send them a photograph, you know, of me smiling and hope that they'd give me
like, can I please have this?
Can I please have that? Siyanda, thank you so much. May your business grow, and, you know, may all your dreams and aspirations come true. And may God forever hold you in the palm of his hand. Thank you, son. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the time and this interview. And we must talk more when we are face to face.
God bless you, son.
After this pandemic. Yes, thank you. God bless. Have a good evening.
You too.